everyone, welcome to my channel GS Nagri. Today I am here with these current affairs. I have tried to include all the important current affairs in this, but if you think that something is missing or anything is not there, then do please tell us, and please take effort to like our video if you really like it. It takes effort to make such videos, and if you dislike it, just tell us the reason for it in the comment box. So let's proceed further. Our first current affair is IIT Alumni Council launches COVID-19 test bus. COVID-19 test bus. It is launched by IIT Alumni. IIT, it is Indian Institute of Technology. The alumni of IIT, it has launched COVID-19 test bus in Mumbai, Maharashtra. The COVID-19 testing bus will reduce 80% of the testing cost without compromising on the testing capacity. It is a COVID-19 test bus. It is a bus. It will go from one place to another and will take the tests. So the cost of the test will be reduced by up to 80% without compromising on the testing capacity and the testing quality. Moving further, according to IIT Alumni Council, a global alumni body for all the 23 IITs. Okay, what is this? Let me tell you. This IIT Alumni Council, which has launched the COVID-19 test bus, it is what? It is a council, it is a global alumni body of all 23 IITs, means the students from all these 23 IITs, IIT Kanpur, IIT Delhi, IIT Bombay, they pass out from their institute and then they become IIT alumni, and they together form a council. They have developed this COVID-19 test bus, which will increase the testing capacity within 100 days and support the health department in controlling the COVID-19 pandemic. The IIT C19 bus, this IIT C19 bus, it is based on the Kodoy architecture model. Which architecture model? Kodoy architecture model. This is important. Okay, that the model of IIT C19 buses, it is Kodoy model, Kodoy architecture model. This is made to support the affordable and rapid testing, which involves e-vehicle for contactless sample collection and telemedicines. This C19 bus, it is based on Kodoy architecture model. And why? What are the advantages of this bus? This is made to support the affordable and rapid testing. I have told you that it will reduce the cost by 80%. Then you can see now how will it reduce this. It will involve the e-vehicle for contactless sample. It is a vehicle in which has computers installed in it and all the programs installed in it. It is a e-vehicle where contactless the samples can be collected without any contact. So if there will be no contact, the spread of the disease or any pandemic will reduce. Contactless sample collection and telemedicines. All the medicines, they are installed in a program, all based teleradiology and algorithm based on pooled genetic testing. It has also the character of pooled genetic pool testing and mega labs. It has mega labs capable of up to 5 million tests per month. It can perform this COVID test bus. It can perform 5 million tests per month in one lab. This bus has the capacity to collect 10 to 15 samples per hour. It can collect 10 to 15 samples per hour. This is really a very huge capacity to take 10 to 15 samples in an hour, and that too contactless. A digital chest x-ray will be carried out. Here the digital chest x-ray can also be carried out, as we know that corona affects the lungs. So digital x-ray, chest x-ray will also be carried out and sent to the doctors online. The doctors online, they can view this chest x-ray, and the healthcare staff that is there with the doctors, like the paramedical staff, it will use all to see the probability of the person having coronavirus through this by taking the x-ray of the chest. They can find out the probability, how much probability the person is having to the chances of the coronavirus, how much chances of there are there in a person for the coronavirus. They can be tested. Then what are the important takeaways of this current? This The Pan IIT Alumni India, it is an organization representing alumni of IIT. I told you this IIT, it is a organization which represents the many of the students who have already studied in the IIT and they have passed it out and they have joined this organization to work for the benefit of the people. Then second one, Pan IIT Alumni Headquarters. Where are the headquarters of this alumni Pan IIT headquarter located? They are located in New Delhi. Okay. Then who is the chairman of IIT Alumni? It is Ramnath S. Mani. Then moving on to the next current, Niti Aayog launches Surakshit Dada Dadi and Nana Nani Abhiyan. As we know, before we start with the current, I would like to give you the gist why they have started the Surakshit Dada Dadi and Nani Abhiyan. As you know, we all are going through a very heavy lockdowns. So the old people in our homes, they are feeling alone, and somewhere the old people who are living in those anathalaya or orphanage ashrams, vruddhashrams, so they are feeling themselves to be very alone, and their mentality through their psychology is getting wrecked day by day. So Niti Aayog has launched Surakshit Dada Dadi and Nana Nani Abhiyan. Niti Aayog has virtually launched a campaign in association with this Abhiyan. This was launched in association with which foundation? With Piramal Foundation. Okay, with Piramal Foundation, to protect the senior citizens during COVID-19. The campaign has been titled as Surakshit Dada Dadi and Nana Nani Abhiyan. This newly launched campaign aims to secure the well-being of senior citizens during the COVID-19 pandemic. The well-being of senior citizen will be assured by creating awareness about various aspects such as senior citizens' health, lifestyle, along with preventive measures as well as requesting behavior changes in the view of COVID-19 pandemic. What is there important in this current? I have told you first thing that was important was Piramal Foundation, that this Abhiyan was started by Surakshit Dada Dadi and Nana Nani Abhiyan was started by Piramal Foundation. And what was the aim of this Abhiyan? The aim of this Abhiyan is to ensure the well-being of senior citizens. Okay, senior citizens' well-being during this COVID-19 pandemic. The well-being of senior citizen will be ensured. Okay, what was the Abhiyan? Abhiyan was Surakshit Dada Dadi Nana Nani Abhiyan. And which foundation is associated with it? Which foundation? Piramal Foundation. Okay, and what was the aim of this Abhiyan? To ensure the well-being of senior citizens during this COVID-19 pandemic. Okay, shall we move further? Okay, let's see. The Surakshit Dada Dadi and Nana Nani Abhiyan targets to cover 2.9 million senior citizens. Okay, how many? 2.9 million senior citizens. Senior citizens means our old people which are living around us and which are living in our homes, our Dada Dadis and Nana Nanis. Okay, so it targets to cover 2.9 million senior citizens in 25 aspirational districts. Acha, where this Abhiyan is going on in how many districts? In various states like Assam, Bihar, Jharkhand, MP, Maharashtra, Rajasthan and UP. These are the states in which all the districts where this Abhiyan is carried out. Okay, and what are the important takeaways of this current? It is, the first is Vice President of Niti Aayog. This is important that the Vice President of Niti Aayog is Rajiv Kumar, and who is the CEO, that is Chief Executive Officer of Niti Aayog. The name of the CEO is Amitabh Kant. Okay, and let me give you some more information about Niti Aayog. It is not written out here, but I want you all to know this because it is often asked that what is the full form of Niti? This Aayog, what is the full form? We all say Niti Aayog, but do we know that what is the full form of Niti Aayog? The full form of Niti is National Institute of Transforming India. ठीक है, NITI, National Institute for Transforming India. And this Niti Aayog, it is not a constitutional body. It is not a constitutional body, and it was made by the government to think on its policy. That is, Niti Aayog is also known as the policy think tank of Government of India. Policy think tank of Government of India. Then I have told you all that Chief Executive Officer of Niti Aayog is Amitabh Kant. Amitabh Kant, he was an IAS officer of 1980 batch. IAS officer of 1980 batch, and he is there in Niti Aayog as CEO from June 2019. Okay, that's all was there for about Niti. So let's move further. A book titled Vijayant at Kargil. The Life of a Kargil War Hero is released now. The book titled Vijayant at Kargil, the name of the book is The Life of Kargil War Hero. Okay, it is released now. The book title, what is the name of the title of the book? It is Vijayant at Kargil. The Life of a Kargil Hero. The Life of the Kargil Hero. Okay, book title Vijayant at Kargil, The Life of Kargil Hero. It has been released. This book is a biography of Veer Chakra awardee. This is important. Okay, you should remember this by heart. It is a biography of Veer Chakra awardee, posthumously Captain Vijayant Thapar. Okay, Captain Vijayant Thapar. The book, it is a biography of Captain Vijayant Thapar. It is written by, authored by, the author of this book is Vijayant's father, Colonel V.N. Thapar. Okay, Vijayant Thapar, his father, Colonel V.N. Thapar, he wrote this book, Vijayant at Kargil, The Life of a Kargil Hero, along with the writer Neha Dwivedi. The writer of this book is Neha Dwivedi. She is also the daughter of a martyr. Her father's name was Major C.B. Dwivedi. She is also the daughter of Kargil martyr. Her father's name was Major C.B. Dwivedi, Neha Dwivedi. This book shows the journey of Vijayant Thapar. This book shows the journey of Vijayant Thapar to join IMA, Indian Military Academy, and the experiences that shaped him into the fine officer. This book shows about his experiences that he have faced in the various wars and during his period in the Indian Military Academy. Everything is written in this book. Moving further, about Captain Vijayant Thapar, some lines. Captain Vijayant Thapar, he was born on 26 December 1976. Okay, he was born on 26 December 1976 in a military family. His father's name is, as I have told you earlier, Colonel V.L. Thapar and Tripta Thapar. His mother's name is Tripta Thapar. He is the fourth generation in army officer. Before his, he is the fourth generation. The third generations before him, they were also serving in the army only. At the early age of 15, when he was just 15 years old, he was selected in NDA, National Defence Academy. He was commissioned into Indian Army 12th December 1998. He was commissioned into Indian Army in 12th December 1988. Then he got killed at the age of 22 in Kargil War. He was killed at the age of 22 in the Kargil War. How he was killed? He was shot in the head. On which date? 29 June 1999. Okay, 29 June 1999. And what is important in this is that his father's name was V.N. Thapar and his mother's name was Tripta Thapar, and he was 15 when he got selected to NDA, and then at the age of 22 he was shot to death by in the Kargil war. Okay, now next, Gurudev, journey of a maestro through his visual vocabulary. As you are seeing your picture, seeing the picture in your screen, so you must be familiar of which person I am going to talk. He is one of the greatest poet of Indian history, and he has written many novels, many poems, and many songs. Okay, he was a Bengali author, writer, and a singer. The National Gallery of Modern Art has been organized. The National Gallery of Modern Art has been organized a virtual tour to commemorate the 159th birth anniversary to Gurudev Rabindranath Tagore. His 159th birth anniversary has been organized of whom? Gurudev Rabindranath Tagore. where it is organized where the National Gallery of Modern Art. The virtual tour has been titled as Gurudev. If you have seen my yesterday's video, I have told you all in the history of 7 May that his pen name was Gurudev. His sobriquets, they called him Upnam, that his name was Gurudev. Okay, so the virtual tour has been titled as Gurudev Journey of Maestro through his visual vocabulary. The visual tour will give opportunity to glimpse of 102 artworks created by versatile genius. He was also an artist. That visual tour, it will show you about 102 artworks that have been created by Rabindranath Tagore. Rabindranath Tagore, he was a poet, I have told you. Just now I told you that he was a poet, novelist and painter. He was a poet, novelist and painter. He was renowned for being the first Indian to be awarded the Nobel Prize. I told you this in my yesterday's video also, that he was the first non-European to get this Nobel Prize in literature. And what was this literature on which he got the Nobel Prize? This was Gitanjali, his famous work Gitanjali. Okay, and he has also written the national anthem of India and Bangladesh. Of India we all must be knowing, but of Bangladesh he also wrote the national anthem of Bangladesh. So what are the important takeaways of this current? Director General of National Gallery of Modern Art, it is Advait. Okay, Advait. Director General of National Gallery of Modern Art is Advait Charan Gadanayak. Okay, this is important. Shall we move further? Okay, let's see. Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary reappointed PAC chairman. Okay, who? Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary. He has been appointed as the PAC chairman. Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary, Congress leader in Lok Sabha, has been reappointed as a chairperson of the Parliament's Public Account Committee. What is the full form of PAC? Parliament's Public Account Committee. Okay, Parliament Public Account Committee. He was reappointed the chairman of committee by Lok Sabha Speaker Om Birla. Then he was again reappointed as the chairman of committee by whom? Om Birla. Om Birla appointed him as the chairperson of Parliament Public Account PAC. And what is his name? Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary. He is a Congress leader in Lok Sabha. He has been reappointed as the chairperson of Parliament Public Account PAC. Let's move further. Let's know something about PAC, that is Public Account Committee. The Public Account Committee, what is the function of PAC? What does it do? It examines accounts showing the appropriation of sums. Okay? It granted by Parliament for the expenditure of Government of India. It calculates or sums up the money that has been granted by the Parliament for the expenditure of Government of India, the annual financial accounts of the government and others. The financial accounts of the government and others. The PAC is the oldest parliamentary committee. This is important, that PAC is the oldest parliamentary committee in which 15 members are elected. In total, PAC has 15 members which are elected from Lok Sabha and 7 members from the Rajya Sabha. How many members from Lok Sabha? 15 members. And how many members from Rajya Sabha? 7 members. They are elected every year for the 22-member panel. It has a total of 22 panel member, of which 15 members from Rajya Sabha and 15 members from Lok Sabha and 7 members from Rajya Sabha are elected to make a total of 22 members. Shall we move? Okay, let's see. Next current is DPS Negi takes as Director General to Labour Bureau. Okay, what is the name? First of all, that is important. DPS Negi. Okay, he takes charge as Director General to Labour Bureau. What is Labour Bureau? I will be telling you further in this current only. Indian Economic Service Officer, IES. We have IAS, Indian Administrative Officer, but he is Indian Economic Services Officer, that is DPS. Negi took charge as Director General of Labour Bureau. He took charge as Director General of Labour Bureau in the Ministry of Labour and Employment. Okay, in the Ministry of Labour and Employment, he took charge. Who took charge? DPS Negi. Sorry. Who is he? He is Indian Economic Service Officer. Besides this, Negi also assumed charge as senior labor and employment. He also assumed the charge as senior labor and employment advisory of ministry. Okay, he is an IES officer of 1985 batch. This is also important that DPS Negi, he is an IES officer of 1985 batch. Prior to this new assignment, Negi served as advisor finance. That means before taking charge as Director General to Labour Bureau, he served as advisor finance, MSME. Okay, he served as advisor finance, MSME. Moving further, something about Labour Bureau. I have told you that during this current I will be telling you what is Labour Bureau. Labour Bureau is an authority which collects and analyzes data related to workers' employments and retail inflations. Okay, Labour Bureau collects and analyzes data which are related to workers, about the employment and the retail inflations. So some of the important takeaways of this current are: Ministry of Labour and Employment headquarter. Where are they located? They are located in New Delhi. Okay, and then Minister of State, IC of the Ministry of Labour and Employment. Who is he? Santosh Gangwar. So let's move. Tarun Bajaj became a new director on RBI Central Board. Who became the name? Who is the new director of RBI Central Board? This is Tarun Bajaj. Economic Affairs Secretary Tarun Bajaj became new director on Central Board of the Reserve Bank of India. Okay, Economic Affairs Secretary. He was earlier Economic Affairs Secretary and has now become the new director of RBI Central India. His appointment is confirmed by Government of India. Government of India has confirmed that he has been appointed as a new director of RBI. He is a 1988, that is 1988 batch IES officer. He is 1988 batch IES officer. He will replace whom? This is also important, Atanu Chakravarti. This is oftenly asked that Tarun Bajaj has replaced which director? RBI General. So the answer will be Atanu Chakravarti, who retired on 30 April. After his retirement, Tarun Bajaj took the charge. Who was the early ex director of RBI? He was Atanu Chakravarti. Okay, let's move. Prior to taking over as Economic Affairs Secretary, Bajaj was Additional Secretary in Prime Minister's office. Before this, where was Bajaj? Bajaj was the Additional Secretary in Prime Minister's office. He was the Additional Secretary in Prime Minister's office. Before joining Prime Minister office in 2015, Bajaj was Joint Secretary in Economic Affairs Department, looking after multilateral funding agencies. What are the important current in this important takeaways of this current? Headquarter of RBI, where is it located? It is located in Mumbai, Maharashtra. And who is the governor of RBI? It is Shaktikanta Das. These are the important GS questions that can be asked from this current. Okay, so let's move on further. Vesak Day 2020 observed globally on 7 May. Okay, Vesak Day observed when? On 7 May. Vesak Day 2020 is observed globally over 7 May. Vesak is the day of full moon. Okay, Vesak Day, it is the day of full moon. It is the most sacred day to Buddhists all over the world. On this day, Lord Gautam Buddha attained enlightenment. The day is commemorated to United Nations every year. Okay, let's move. History of Vesak Day. The day is being celebrated by United Nations since 2000. The resolution to celebrate the day was passed in 1999. Since 2004, International Vesak Summit is being organized. In 2019, it was held in Vietnam. So far, the summit has been held 11 times in Thailand, 3 times in Vietnam, and 1 time in Sri Lanka. The decision to celebrate the birthday of Buddha as Vesak Day was first formalized at the World Fellowship of Buddhist Conference that was held in Sri Lanka in 1950. The conference was attended by Buddhist leaders from various countries. So that's all for today.